When introducing a character, you set a precedent for who they are, how they're going to act, and where their morals stand. It is then up to the author how they want to transform that character, if at all. Witchat Atelier episode 7 makes a good case for how to properly develop a sour person into someone you can sympathize for. In that sense, this is the point of the series where they flip a character on their head by putting them out of their depth for a moment. Unlike the past conflict, nobody is coming after the Atelier we love. Instead, they found themselves thrust into helping civilians, where Agott, specifically, is very motivated to assist in the process. According to her within episode 6, she needs to reach higher levels of achievements faster, where the next step for her is the second test of apprentices and outside work. Essentially, the next milestone is garnering that experience. Cutting to the carriage in the river, Orugio and Kifri are very prepared to deal with this incident. The windowway is promptly placed, and the rain cleaver is unsheathed to deal with the issue. Being longtime partners, they get done what needs to be done, and everything is resolved peacefully. However, some predicaments are more long-winded than they initially seem to be. The whole time while the witches proper are taking care of everything, Agott is grimacing at the fact that she can't help with something more important. Instead, she's stuck drying clothes and tending to the citizens. This toxic mindset makes you wonder what her motivations are for being a witch, and the cause for this drive to fill out an arbitrary checklist. Orugio called her out himself about what magic's purpose is, but there's something about being officiated as a witch that's important to Agott. While she's busy pouting over her situation, Custis falls into the riverbank and is pinned down by a rock. Coco also slides down and finds herself in unfavorable circumstances along with Custis. The civilians besides Agott ask her for help, and a devilish, selfish smile runs across her lips as she imagines herself getting her way. Then, in a revolt of memories, she freezes up as everyone surrounds her in a cautious curiosity. This is where we learn a little bit more about Agott. The fact that she grew up with people placing high expectations on her. Despite that, she was still excluded from everyone else as being average. Voices of judgment cause your ears to perk up as you wonder from how long ago Agott has been used to hearing these voices. If it's always been this way, is that why she places high expectations onto others, such as Coco? I love when we get scenes like this in any piece of media because it causes us to re-examine the characters we've known up until now. This precedent through a new lens. Still, that's not the only thing that uncovers during this sequence. There's 3 other topics that reveal themselves in different magnitudes, one of them being the reason why all of the people who make up Kifri's atelier are there. I've said in the past video that Kifri prefers the solitude of his atelier as opposed to the grand hall. This could be a personal preference, or there could be a deeper layer waiting to be peeled back. In the same way, we could say that for all of his apprentices, especially Coco, as we already know, and Orugio, who didn't seem particularly excited that new commotion was going to be happening around the atelier with Coco around. The assumption could be made that Agott chose this place of study so that she can purely focus without any of the trauma that came with her early childhood. In this, she sets standards for herself that keep her chasing the next goal in front of her instead of, as Kifri worried, appreciating the magic of the present. These standards she has set for herself, as narrated by her in the previous episode, is something that seems draining. During this philosophical debate about mindfulness, I'd like to bring up the idea the show puts out quite often. Orugio said it himself, but there needs to be a purpose for your magic. As we learned in the Dragon's Labyrinth, Tetio's purpose for studying has been to put out her own creation into the public eye so that everyone could feel happy and at ease with her clouds. Coco's own purpose for magic is 2 ways, both being that she wants to save her mother and make others happy with her magic. As we come into this situation where these civilians genuinely need help saving others, my first reaction was to think poorly of Agott, seeing as she saw this as an achievement rather than a tragic case at the beginning. She wants to live up to her higher standards, but in that chase, she's lost the empathy that one needs if you're going to help and make others happy using your magic. Following this train of thought, as an audience, we need to consider, from what we know so far, what is the weight of magic in this world? Coco fell in love with it because of the glowstone path, which illuminates the floor as you walk. It's very simple, cute, and filled her with joy. To someone else, forbidden magic could have snuck its way into someone's life, as it did with Coco, and there could be irreversible circumstances. The magic system in this world is something that is so precious, yet so terrifying. In that same headspace, what is the weight of magic to witches who have mastered their craft and the apprentices who are still learning how to wield it in accordance with the rules? The Pact of the Witches detail how they shouldn't use magic, yet the Brimmed Caps are still an elusive faction. Witches wield the ability to create miracles out of seemingly thin air, yet not all of them are rearing to be the hero. Knowing the history of the world, we know how magic used to be in a time where anyone had the ability to handle it. Those were dark days according to our historians, and it was revoked from the majority of people to create a fine line between how can we accomplish this and should we accomplish this. This argument might sound familiar, but is very relevant in the world of Witch Hat Atelier. As we see Agott thrust into this situation in a panic, the voice of her peer brings her back to her senses. Coco is genuinely trying to figure out how she can help in any way, not out of instinct, but because of her worldview and thus duty. She wants to help others with magic, so if she can, she will. That mindset is going to be the strength and folly when it comes to her circumstances between brimmed cap and pointed cap, but that's for another video essay. Agott is pulled back to reality by this heroic nature of Coco. She remembers what Olrugio said, and in that moment, Agott is not working for her own selfish desires anymore. She is working out of duty. It's funny enough that this quote works in this context, but I think something that sums up the entire conflict perfectly is Spider-Man's grounding statement. With great power comes great responsibility. The witches themselves have given their group a special privilege over the majority. It feels strange, but in the English dub, when you hear the differentiation between the flat accents as opposed to the European accents, definitively, the separation between their worlds is emphasized to a ridiculous degree. There needs to be some heroes to compensate for this imbalance. In the aftermath, as the civilians are overjoyed and the apprentices are talking with one another, we get to see again how Agott has handled all of this herself. During what felt like a frenzy of trauma just lashing at her, it was Coco who got her out of it. As they're saying their thanks, it's Coco again who brings out the bright side in everything that they do together. Even if she doesn't want to admit it, Agott is growing closer to Coco. This won't make everyone love Agott instantly, but I think there's a portion of viewers with whom she is growing closer to. Her trauma may be vague, raising any questions about the case itself, but I believe the show did a wonderful job of putting it into motion with the scene change and color palette swap. It made it feel otherworldly compared to what we have now. It's a side of the witch world we have yet to completely see. Anyways, that's enough out of me. Thank you for watching the video. If you're seeing this the day that it came out, it is my birthday, so I wouldn't mind any well wishes coming my way. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to keep up with the weekly series. Thank you very much. See you all later, you cool people.